studios and live locations. Good evening. Welcome to Choice 2013. I am Anki Buta.
I'm Linda Gutu. Thank you so much for joining us. But for now, let's take a look at the top stories tonight. All right, I understand that is coming in just a few minutes. But for now, let's take you to Bomas of Kenya here in Nairobi, the National Tallying Center of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, where John Alan Namo is standing by with some of the results and what has transpired the entire day. John.
That's right, Linda. We've got all the results for the past 16 constituencies that have been released during the course of the afternoon and just a few minutes ago this evening, as well as some of the details on the political heat that's being generated about the way those results are being announced by the IEBC commissioners. We've got all of those details. But first, let me take you to Eldoret, where Mercy Kandia is standing by. Mercy.
All right, you're watching Choice 2013, and of course we're trying to get you as much information as we can from all over the country, as our reporters dotted all across the country try to figure out what's going on as the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission does the all-important tallying process that is currently going on at the Bomas of Kenya here in Nairobi.
Absolutely. We are keeping tabs, of course, on these developments. We will have live panel discussions as we try to break down this information for you. Let's speak now to Sam Ogena. He's standing by live in Nakuru. All right, so we'll be reaching, of course, those multiple locations in a short while. Linda, of course, this is really an incisive part of the entire discussion, because from now we're expecting to see returning officers really file in quick and fast at the IEBC's National Tallying Center. And what we are expecting, of course, are concrete results as we lead up, of course, perhaps by Friday to the presidential announcement, which is what IEBC really is talking about, that it may take that long. Of course, our Leo Chenio is also standing by. He's got a panel discussion breaking down all the information that we have for us. Let's go to our super wall now, where we're going to be displaying for you various information, various data as far as the announcements that we are hearing from various poll monitors. Of course, the Africa Union Commission and their team that is here in the country, they have released an interim report. We'll be speaking about that in a little while. And of course, so much more information that will be displayed here, looking at the data, the governor results that we have for you so far, the senator results that we have for you so far, really across the country as they file in from returning officers. Let's see what we can take a look at right now as far as this data is concerned. I believe we can take a look at what observers have seen so far. Let's take a look at the first board as far as those responses are concerned. Here we are now, the Africa Union Election Observers Mission. This is part of their statement. Let me read it out to you verbatim. The AU Election Observation Mission notes with concern the high level of rejected ballots. This, of course, is something that the entire country is worried about, which may have resulted from inadequate voter education in the run-up to the elections. Let's take a look at more statements that are coming in still from the AU. We call on Kenyans to particularly political parties and their leadership to maintain peace before, during and after the release of the final results by the IEBC. These are sentiments that have been repeated across the board. Here we are with the Commonwealth Observers Group saying that the count at the polling stations was conducted transparently, poll officials worked diligently, and party agents were present to witness the outcome. It is noted that the number again of invalid votes, the concern really here in the country and around the world, being quite high. Let's take a look at what other monitors are saying for us. Still the Commonwealth, we remain hopeful that the results will be available within a reasonable period. IEBC must maintain its transparency in completing this, and that any complaints are to be dealt with effectively to ensure accountability. Certainly these complaints that should be filed in to a reformed judiciary. Let's continue with the observation missions. Here we are with the EU. While several serious violent incidents occurred in some parts of the country, the EU election observers have found that the overall atmosphere during the elections was calm and the democratic spirit of Kenyans prevailed. Of course, they're referring partly to the fact that we saw some chaos at the start of the exercise. Let's go now to the Bomas of Kenya, the Tallying Center for the IEBC, for an update.
We have results for 7 more constituencies. Final results for the presidential election. Form 36 for each of them is available, where the details of every polling stations and the scores for each is recorded, signed by the presiding officer, returning officer, and party agents. Musob, James Kiapi, 199. Mother Karua, 106. Muhammad Dida, 73. Musali Mudavadi, 809. Paul Muite, 34. Peter Kenneth, 190. Raila Odinga, 1,790. Uhuru Kenyatta, 40,404. Vote cast, 43,967. Rejected votes, 367. Valid votes, 43,610. Musop is constituents 156. Constituents 193. Sigod Soin. This is in Bomet County. The results is as follows. Total registered voters, 37,457. James Kiapi, 22. Mother Karua, 54. Mohammed Dida, 45. Musalia Mudavadi, 114. Paul Muite, 29. Peter Kenneth, 124. Raila Odinga, 1,143. Uhuru Kenyatta, 32,559. Vote cast, 34,664. Rejected votes, 178. Valid votes, 34,486. Constituents Belgut, constituents number 192. This is in Kericho County. Total registered voters, 54,360. James Kiap, 140. Mother Karua, 108. Mohammed Dida, 75. Musale Mudavadi, 435. Paul Muite, 41. Peter Kenneth, 223. Raila Odinga, 3,437. Uhuru Kenyatta, 43,640. Vote cast, 48,374. Rejected votes, 275. Valid votes 48,099. Constituents Bureti, constituents number 191, Kericho County. Total vote cast, total registered voters 62,930. James Kiapi 179. Martha Karua 85. Mohammed Dida 87. Musalia Mudavadi 159. Paul Mite 50. Peter Kenneth 289. Raila Odinga 1,893. Uhuru Kenyatta 54,932. Vote cast 58,064. Rejected votes 389. Valid votes 57,674. Constituents Krusoi South, constituents number 170. This is in Nakuru County. Total registered voters 38,135. James Kiapi 155. Martha Karua 119. Mohammed Dida 75. Musalia Mudavadi 128. Paul Mite 43. Peter Kenneth 142. Raila Odinga 1,383. Uhuru Kenyatta 31,761. Vote cast 34,159. Rejected votes 353. Valid votes 33,806. Constituents Chapulungu, Bomet County, constituents number 195. Total registered voters 51,267. James Kiapi 172. Martha Karua 190. Mohammed Dida 72. Musalia Mudavadi 184. Paul Mute 43. Peter Kenneth 357. Raila Odinga 2,558. Uhuru Kenyatta 41,948. Votes cast 48,783. Rejected votes 284. Valid votes 46,420. Constituents Kurusoi North, constituents number 171, Nakuru County. Total registered voters 44,333. James Kiapi 139. Martha Karua 99. Mohammed Dida 69. Musalia Mudavadi 255. Paul Mite 67. Peter Kenneth 133. Raila Odinga 3,310. Uhuru Kenyatta, 34,365. Vote cast, 38,865. Rejected votes, 428. Valid votes, 38,437. Thank you.
All right, many thanks. That was the latest update from the IEBC. 7 new constituencies have, or rather the tally from 7 constituencies have just been announced. I will just go through the figures here with myself and Rita Tinina. Rita, why don't you start with the first constituency?
Well, remember earlier on in the evening, we had a total of 16 constituencies from which the final results had been announced. Now we have an additional 7. The 17th constituency is Mosop, and in that constituency, out of the total votes cast, which is 43,967, Uhuru Kenyatta, the Jubilee Coalition flag bearer, got 40,404, while Raila Odinga of the Code Coalition got 1,790 votes.
And the second constituency in Bomet County is Subuksoi, and in that constituency, Uhuru Kenyatta garnered 32,559 votes. Raila Odinga garnering just 1,143.
Belgut is the next constituency. Out of the total votes cast, which is 48,374, Uhuru Kenyatta got 43,640, while Raila Odinga got 3,437.
And in Bureti, Uhuru Kenyatta garnered 54,932, while Raila Odinga garnered 1,893.
In Kuresoi South, the total votes cast was 34,159. There were 353 rejected votes. Of those votes that were cast, Uhuru Kenyatta got 31,761, while Raila Odinga got 1,383.
In Chapalungu, Raila Odinga 2,558, while Uhuru Kenyatta got 41,948. That's in Chapalungu.
In Kuresoi South, Uhuru Kenyatta got 34,365. Raila Odinga got 3,310 out of the 38,865 votes cast. 428 votes were rejected, while the rest of the candidates, Kiapi, Karua, Dida, Mudavadi, and Muite, as well as Peter Kenneth, all got below 200 votes. So this evening, we are seeing the frequency with which the IEBC is announcing the results is sort of increasing compared to earlier in the day. So far, as I said, these were the latest 7 constituencies this evening. Earlier on in the day, 16 constituencies, results from 16 constituencies were announced. The IEBC saying that earlier on it had said 53 returning officers had arrived. That was by around lunch hour. By this evening, an additional 86 returning officers had returned their results here at the Bomas of Kenya. But Isaac Hassan, in a media briefing shortly after 7 p.m., saying that Kenyans can expect the final results in the presidential race at the very earliest on Friday morning. So it looks like we'll be here throughout the night, tomorrow during the day, Thursday night as well, before we can expect that result on Friday morning. Political party leaders, representatives earlier on this evening, just a while ago, raising concerns, saying that the IEBC is now announcing results that have not been verified, and they're saying that they had gone into an agreement with the IEBC to ensure that there is public participation by their chief agents, but now they're saying the IEBC is going ahead to announce the results just based on the Form 36 that is being delivered by the returning officers. John?
All right, let's just go through some of the constituencies that were announced earlier. That was Kitutu Chache, where James Kiapi got 223 votes, Martha Karua 228, Dida got 99 votes, Mudavadi 363, Mwite 46 votes, Peter Kenneth 255, Raila Odinga, the winner there, 17,768, while Uhuru Kenyatta got 12,224, the rejected votes, something that's become quite a bit of a talking point on social media and nationally. That was 509 in Kitutu Chache constituency.
There was also Kuria West in that constituency. James Ole Kiapi got 198 votes, Martha Karua 190, Mohamed Abduba Dida 93, Mudavadi 592, Paul Mwite 57, Peter Kenneth 180, Raila Odinga got 13,231, and Uhuru Kenyatta emerged the winner here with 15,948. A total of 30,796 votes were cast in Kuria West, 307 were rejected.
In Uriri constituency, James Ole Kiapi got 47 votes, Karua got 38, Mohamed Abduba Dida 27 votes, Musalia Mudavadi 269 votes, Peter Kenneth got 54 votes, Raila Odinga 32,438 votes, while Uhuru Kenyatta got 162 votes. Total votes cast there were 35,677, and the ones that were rejected were 223 out of registered voters of 38,164.
In Kisumu West, a total of 45,442 votes were cast. Of those, James Ole Kiapi got 56, Martha Karua 37, Abduba Dida 14, Musalia Mudavadi 765, Paul Mwite got 20, Peter Kenneth got 75, Raila Odinga got 43,613, while Uhuru Kenyatta got 455. In Kisumu West, 407 votes were rejected.
And finally, Kigumo constituency, James Ole Kiape got 110 votes, Martha Karua garnered 155 votes, while Mohamed Abduba Dida got 42 votes, Paul Mwite getting 22 votes in Kigumo constituency, Peter Kenneth got 115 votes, Raila Odinga got 502, while Uhuru Kenyatta was the winner there with 56,048 votes. Total votes cast there were 57,394, just above 95%, I believe, in terms of voter turnout. Rejected votes there were 314. The valid votes 57,080 out of voter registration of 61,170. Well, these have become talking points here, those constituencies that we've just spoken about, for the reason that Rita had alluded to. Both political alliances, both Jubilee and CORD, complaining to the IEBC and of course to the press that they were not included in the verification of these votes while tallying took place. They were asked to step out of the tallying center by Isaac Hassan during his address to the public in order for his officers to carry out their work a little faster. But another interesting thing, Rita, was Isaac Hassan's admission about the failure of the electronic system of transmission of votes. What does that portend? It almost seems as if that failure, that technical failure, is forcing the IEBC to go in contravention of the Elections Act, Section 82, I believe.
Yeah, indeed, John Allen. The IEBC admitting that it was experiencing technical issues. But Isaac Hassan, during that press briefing, saying that Safaricom, which was the conveyor of this data in this election, was not to blame. But now he admitted and said that, in fact, they're now abandoning the electronic vote transmission system and going manual. And so far, 23 constituencies out of the 290. So it appears we might be waiting for a little longer here until Friday, as he says. But the IEBC chairman also saying that it does not mean that the credibility of these results should be put to question. He says the systems in place will ensure that anyone who casts their votes during the election, that vote will count during the final tally.
That's true, and in fact, something that I think we need to reiterate is the fact that they have 7 days to be able to carry out this tally and give Kenyans results. So going back to something that was said in 1939, British propaganda in 1939, keep calm and carry on. That is the message in a few words that Isaac Hassan has been trying to tell the nation, that people ought to be able to get on with their lives while the IEBC does its job and gives us a tally that they feel is credible and worthy of the amount of time and money that was spent. But of course, those are things to talk about.
And not just the IEBC. Earlier, when representatives of the political parties from across the political divide, Jubilee and also the Code Coalition, who addressed the press complaining about the announcement of the results that had not been verified, despite that complaint, they urged Kenyans to keep calm, to stay put, saying that all is under control. They're of course anxious. There is speculation all around, but they are urging Kenyans to stay calm, give the IEBC a chance. This is also a message that has been echoed by several observers. Of course, there is anxiety, there is concern over the delay, but all around, I think the message is about peace and keeping calm.
That's true. And one final thing before we hand things back to studio, Isaac Hassan had announced that 140 returning officers have since arrived here at the National Election Center and are currently at the National Tallying Center getting the vote that were cast in the various constituencies that they were posted to verified. So there might be a couple more results rolling in through the night for at least 140 constituencies up until tomorrow morning. It is expected, the vice chairperson said that it is expected a lot more would be coming through. So stay tuned to KTN. We'll be giving you those details. For now, it's back to studio. Rita and I will keep you updated as and when we get the information that you want to hear. And that, of course, is the final vote tally. Back to you.
All right, thanks very much, John Alanamu and Rita Tinina. And as we say here at the Election Center, keep calm and watch Choice 2013. Well, welcome back to our Election Center. We're here at the Super Bowl. We're taking a look at the views and the interim statements, if you like, that we have seen from the international community, from observer missions that have, of course, been very closely monitoring this election. We're just going to recap what we were talking about, and I believe we can now begin by taking a look at what the Africa Union Election Observation Mission has had to say so far in their assessment of how this entire election was carried out. Let me read it out to you verbatim, as you can see on your screen. The AU Election Observation Mission notes with concern the high level of rejected ballots which may have resulted from an inadequate voter education in the runoff to the elections. That statement continues to read that the AU Election Observation Mission is calling on Kenyans, particularly political parties and their leadership, to maintain peace during and after the release of the final results by the IEBC. Let's move on now to the Commonwealth. Of course, Kenya is a member of the Commonwealth, and this is what the observer group has had to say so far. The count at polling stations was conducted transparently. Poll officials worked diligently, and party agents were present to witness that outcome. It is noted that the number of invalid votes is quite high. Let's continue with what that statement has to say. We remain hopeful that the full results will be available within a reasonable period. IEBC must maintain its transparency in completing this, and that any complaints are dealt with effectively to ensure accountability. Of course, a key part of that statement is what we saw in the previous board when they say party agents were present to witness the outcome. And we're starting to hear a little bit of double talk from parties, but the Commonwealth Observer Group confirms that they were actually present. Let's move on now to what the European Union Election Observation Mission has had to say in its interim report. So far, it says while several serious violent incidents occurred in some parts of the country, the EU election observers have found that the overall atmosphere during the elections was calm and that the democratic spirit of Kenyans prevailed. Let's move on to the other part of that statement. It says the overall credibility and transparency of the general elections can be assessed after what is happening right now, the tallying and the announcement of the results, and any possible petitions are also to be dealt with. certainly the courts will be a crucial part should we see any petitions going forward to them. I want to move on now to the Carter Center. Of course, this was founded by former U.S. President Jimmy Carter and his wife. Let's take a look at their observations. The Carter Center encourages political parties and candidates to continue to exercise patience as the results process continues and to bring any complaints they may have to the appropriate legal channels. I believe we can also take a look at what international press have been having to say. Let's begin with The Guardian, a UK paper. It says if violence is avoided, there will of course be relief and a sense of achievement, but in important ways, Kenya will still not have moved on. Politicians are still campaigning largely on the basis of ethnicity and not on issues. And quite honestly, this is something that we can agree with, even as you begin to look at the results that we are seeing from the constituency level and from the strongholds of the various candidates. It does appear that voting still remained on tribal lines. So that's what The Guardian is trying to point out. They conclude in saying an important matter, of course, most politicians are rich and most voters are poor. That, of course, being the issue of class and how politicians have been campaigning on it. Let's move on now and see what Bloomberg has to say, of course, specializing in economics. They say the vote is seen as a test of stability for East Africa's largest economy, which is the regional hub for companies including Google Incorporated and Toyota Motor Corp. Let's continue with that statement from Bloomberg. Foreign investors traded almost half of all shares in 2012, compared with about 10% 5 years earlier. They're of course referring to what is happening as far as the Securities Exchange is concerned in this period as we go to the elections. And it must be pointed out that we have seen this shilling remain strong throughout this period. Let's move on to what the Telegraph, again another UK paper, has to say. To the Telegraph now. Here we are. Uhuru Kenyatta, a front-runner for the presidency, has been indicted by the ICC on alleged crimes against humanity. Our government, the British government, does not deal with anyone indicted by the ICC. Let's continue with that statement from the Telegraph. Continues to say, meaning that Britain could soon find itself unable to speak to the president of Kenya. At least 20,000 Britons live in Kenya. And Linda, really what this is telling us is the real concern. We've seen that the diplomatic situation is something that has been played out in the run-up to this election, and the possibility that should we have a win from Uhuru Kenyatta, who of course together with his running mates are facing those crimes against humanity, alleged crimes against humanity at the International Criminal Court, that could this possibly then mean that we may see a diplomatic spat, that we might see the international community having challenges as far as dealing with Kenya is concerned. And you will remember, of course, during the presidential debates, during the run-up to this election, we heard from those two gentlemen that we are referring to, saying that really their focus of their government will be Africa first and the other friends of Kenya. Let's continue to look at what we have for you on our Super Wall. We are looking at the results that we have received so far. Remember, we've heard from the IEBC constituency level results. What we are doing, of course, is putting that into our database and coming up with what it means at the county level. Remember the rule, 25% in more than half of the counties, one of the requirements that a presidential candidate will have to meet in order indeed to be declared winner. So this is just one of the requirements. Let's see Kisumu so far, what we've been able to garner from all the results that we have. Raila Odinga of Court coming in at 96%. He's got 134,488 of those votes. The votes counted 138,705. That's at the bottom of your screen, meaning of course that Uhuru Kenyatta so far has only managed 1% in Kisumu. Let's move on to other results that we are taking a look at. Remember, these are all being tabulated in our system at the county level. Can you see more results? I think we'll be seeing those results in a short while as we continue to plug them into our system. 7 constituencies having reported those results so far at the IEBC, the latest 7, that's what we heard a little earlier. So in a short while, I think we can take you to our locations, to our teams across the country, of course, who are paying a close look at what is happening there. We have our teams as well at the IEBC's National Nerve Center. Linda, I believe I can hand it over to you as you take us to our multiple locations. Linda.
And as you rightly put it, of course, we have John Alanamu and Rita Tinina keeping an eye on what's going on for us at the Bomas of Kenya here in Nairobi. The Tallying Center for the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission will keep an eye on these numbers for you until the last announcement is made on just who will take this home, who will be the fourth president of the Republic of Kenya, if indeed we'll have a winner during this round, or if this country will be heading for a runoff. Those are figures, those are facts that we are keeping an eye on for you. But eyes are not just on the Bomas of Kenya here in Nairobi. We're also keeping tabs on the different constituencies in the country. Let's now take you to Mercy Kandia, who's in Eldoret. Mercy, if you can hear me, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has actually begun tallying these results afresh. What sort of reactions are you getting on the field?
Yes, thank you very much, Linda. This is Choice 2013 coming to you live from Eldoret Town. Linda, residents in Eldoret Town are also very much anticipating the final results from the IEBC Center, especially for the presidential seat, because as at around 6-7 there, Uasin Gishu County released officially their results, and Eldoret Town, especially supporters of the URP party, broke into celebrations as Jackson Mandago was officially announced by these IEBC officials as with their results that Jackson Mandago had taken the governor's seat, Isaac Meli with the senator's seat, and also Yus Langeny, so with the women representative. So Eldoret residents are currently hanging on to this good news, specifically for this county government seats that have been announced. But yes, they are also anticipating eagerly for the presidential results. Linda?
Mercy, this is an election that has lots of surprises. It has new names coming in. What sort of big names have we seen coming down in this election, and who are some of the new entrants into the political field?
Linda, that is in fact very true. If we could start with Uasin Gishu County, big names. Professor Margaret Kamad just conceded defeat at around midday today when the votes were not going so well to her party. And Linda, as we had noted earlier on, especially in URP strongholds, if you as an aspirant were not contesting under the URP party, then you had a tougher battle to fight and a tougher, campaign trail to even convince the region that has been perceived to be, a Jubilee stronghold, to convince them for your vote. So yes, Honorable Margaret Kamar is walking home without the governor's seat. We have Nicholas Biwot, popularly known as Total Man in Elgeyo Marakwet County, going home without the senator's seat. Yesterday, ODM chairman Henry Kosgei, who has been in the political scene for record 30 years, also walked home without the senator's seat. Although on a brighter side, his son Alex Kosgei went home with maybe taking over from his father's career. He has become the MP for Mgwen constituency. Then we also have an interesting story that we have even filed a story for the audience. Joshua Kutuny, known to be even popular with the URP party, lost to an upcoming, Boston 2012 Boston champion, Kiprotich Korir, which we have a story for you later on in this bulletin. Just some of the big names that have fallen in the Northridge region. Linda?
Run your story. How well known really is this athlete? How long has he been there?
Linda, this is the interesting part. He was born and raised in Cherangani constituency. Let me give you just his actual name. He's called Wesley Kipchumba Korir. He's the 2012 Boston Marathon champion, and he was vying as an independent candidate. And Joshua Kutuny was vying still, but under URP candidature for the seat of Member of Parliament. Joshua Kutuny was still campaigning for, he is the outgoing Member of Parliament. He has grown up there, he went overseas for training, but he hasn't been, he is not the politician. But right now he says that being an athlete and being a politician are two things that can go really well, saying that the athletes of Kenya are the pride of Kenya. Linda?
Mercy, of course, such a big upset there for Kutuny, but I understand you have a very interesting story that focuses on that very athlete.
Yes, we do have that story, Linda. It's about his passion for just transforming the people of Cherangani, which he says Cherangani constituency is also cosmopolitan. He believes that he was chosen also, you know, being a battle against, you know, now party popularity in Cherangani constituency. Now he is able to even give what he says is will be able to, you know, run the Cherangani constituency. Here's a story I filed for you earlier on in the day. Let's take a look. 30-year-old Wesley Kipchumba Korir seems to be going in the right direction. He is not only the 2012 Boston Marathon champion, Wesley ran for the Cherangani Member of Parliament 2013 seat and won. A hotly contested seat against outgoing Member of Parliament Joshua Kutuny, vying under the URP party.
They know Kenya because of corruption. They know Kenya because of bad leadership. So we as athletes who are the light of this country and who have been able to get an opportunity to go outside and see how things are run can come back and provide the leadership. And that's one thing that I'm opening a door to the athletes, show them that we can do this. We can become leaders and we can become athletes.
But his race does not end with winning the Cherangani MP seat. He is set to defend the 2013 Boston Marathon on the 17th of next month.
We have 6 o'clock. I can wake up at 6 o'clock, train for 2 hours, come have my food, and I'm ready to go to Parliament and serve my people. So I can be able to effectively serve my nation while I represent my nation as an athlete.
He won the election by getting 19,712 as an independent candidate, while Kutuny had 17,514 with the URP party. And he already has big dreams for Cherangani, with his big goal being to unite the cosmopolitan constituency.
And I'm so honored that the people of Cherangani have decided to change my name, that when I go to Boston Marathon I don't run as Wesley Korir anymore, but I run as Cherangani MP.
And even as the election fell the political giants, for this athletic giant, this election is a step closer in achieving even more and serve more, celebrated by his people and the country. Marcy Kandia, KTN, Choice 2013, Trans Nzoia County.
Marcy Kandia, thank you so much for that story, that very interesting twist to just the kind of people who are actually winning in this election. Joshua Kutuny is not the only man who the electorate decided should go home. Later on, we'll be giving you a list of the big names, the big political names really, that the voters have decided, you know what, you guys need to go home. So keep an eye on that. We'll let you know who exactly has gone home, who has now started their political career in Kenya, of course, after the March 4th general election. Now, different teams monitoring Kenyan elections are calling on voters and politicians to continue to exercise patience as the results tallying process continues. The observer missions have saluted Kenyan voters for maintaining peace during the electioneering and voting period and called for the same spirit to continue after announcement of the final results. And as Patrick Amimo now reports, observers have urged the electoral body to expedite release of final tallies for the much anticipated presidential poll.
The observer missions have started giving their verdicts on the just concluded elections, and the feedback is largely positive. The African Union Election Observation Mission has released its preliminary report and commends Kenyans for the enthusiasm displayed on election day by turning out in large numbers.
The African Union Election Observation Mission, however, notes with concern the high level of rejected ballots which may have resulted from inadequate voter education in the run-up to the elections.
And as Kenyans anxiously await declaration of final results by IEBC, the AU team had a word of advice.
Calls on Kenyans, particularly political parties and their leadership, to maintain the peace before, during, and after the release of the final results by the IEBC.
The European Union Election Observation Mission also released its findings and said it will observe the rest of the election process closely.
Based on our observation, we can say that it was an ambitious undertaking to elect the presidents, the National Assembly, the Senate, governors and county assemblies in one day.
The European Union noted the IEBC succeeded in overcoming the technical and operational difficulties which arose on election day to ensure that the integrity of the vote was protected. But the delays in electronic transmission of provisional results was highlighted as a mild concern.
Kenyans have demonstrated that they are capable of great patience, but even more patience is called for in this important period which we are in now, as we wait for the IEBC to complete its tasks.
A section of politicians had reservation on the European Union observing Kenyan elections.
Our mission is clear, and we don't have political mission here.
The European Union criticized IEBC for what it described as a lack of a consistent decision-making process, beginning with a 3-month delay of voter registration as a result of procurement difficulties. The team observes in the last few weeks of preparations, recruitment of polling staff and distribution of materials were made more difficult in the absence of finalized decisions about polling stations.
What counts, what matters is the final result. We wish that the final result reflect fully, truly the voters' will on the election day.
The Commonwealth Observer Group has also been in the country monitoring the elections and presented its report.
There was a large turnout, particularly at the outset of the voting, and this created some crowd management challenges, but overall, people waited peacefully for their turn to vote.
The team also noted the challenges faced by IEBC during the electronic transmission of provisional results.
We urge the IEBC to ensure clarity and to complete the process in a transparent and timely manner. We also urge all parties and their supporters to be patient and calm and continue to play their part as they have done so far, and ensure that Kenya's reputation is enhanced as a result of these elections.
Kenyan taxpayers forked over 7 billion shillings to acquire BVR kits. However, the kits failed at the critical hour, forcing IEBC to use manual voters register. The question here is whether IEBC should discard the technology.
I think it will be slow but more reliable. My understanding that in Ghana it did cause a problem because they relied upon the electronic system, and when it failed, it meant people were disenfranchised.
There were concerns that many cases of assisted voters would have compromised the secrecy of the ballot.
In many polling stations, in order to work out where to put one's ballot, people were then opening up their ballot again to clarify which ballot it was for, then closing it and putting it in the box. And in many instances, through that process, it was possible to see where they put their tick or their cross or such things. So I think there are a number of factors which I don't think there was anything malicious there or any ill intent.
And finally, the Carter Center Electoral Observation Mission saluted Kenyan voters for turning out in large numbers and exercising their democratic right in a peaceful manner.
Political parties and their leaders should refrain from releasing one-sided figures or making inflammatory statements. Instead, we advise them to cooperate with the IEBC and appeal to their supporters to remain calm.
Apart from the technical challenges faced during the electoral process, the other area IEBC might need to focus much attention on in future is voter education in order to reduce the numbers of rejected votes. Patrick Amimo, KTN Choice 2013.
Right, Patrick Amimo, thank you so much. The rallying call there is let's maintain peace even as we wait for this result. That call was reiterated this evening in a press conference that was issued by IEBC Chair Isaac Hassan. He said, Kenyans, let's give us time, be patient, we'll get you the accurate results. Of course, he says the earliest probably we can get the results of the presidential race is Friday. We're keeping an eye on that for you. Now, there's several new faces that will represent Kenyans at different stages in this government, and one of the new faces is Mary Wamboi in the county of Nyeri, the woman who now gets to represent the people of Othaya, and of course gets to sit on the seat that was previously held by President Mwai Kibaki. Let's take a look at Nyeri, the results and the tallying process, and of course some of the reactions from there.
People of Nyeri seem to have made their decision on who their new leaders are. Starting with the gubernatorial seat, It is Nderito Gachagua of the Grand National Union Party, GNU. Nderito Gachagua is now the governor for Nyeri County. He trounced his closest rival, Dr. Wahome Nakuru of the National Alliance, that is TNA. Gachagua garnered 137,005 votes against Dr. Wahome Nakuru's 126,398 votes, a difference of about 10,607 votes. Dr. Thuomadenge of Sabasaba Asili came in at third position with 48,682 votes, and Dr. Njorori came in at fourth place with 9,213 votes. The occurrence on that, though, is that Dr. Thuomadenge of Sabasaba Asili, who came in at that position, says he will be moving to court tomorrow because his complaint is that the name of his running mate was entered wrongly in the ballot papers, and this he thinks might have affected the outcome of his results. So he will be moving to court to challenge that, and perhaps the court's decision might or might not change the face of what has happened here in Nyeri County today, where we have Nderito Gachagua of GNU as the governor for Nyeri County.
We intend to call a stakeholder meeting and invite the leaders of Nyeri so that the losers and the winners can have an opportunity to bond and send a clear message to our supporters and voters that the election is over. It is now time to work together. Those who have been elected and those who have not been elected.
Well, and for the Senate seat, Nyeri County has a senator. It is Mutahi Kagwe. Mutahi Kagwe garnered 175,000 votes and 947 against his closest rival, Engineer Ephraim Maina, who has been the Member of Parliament for Madeira. Ephraim Maina of TNA garnered 106,559 votes. Christopher Murungaru garnered 39,909 votes, and Job Karedi came in at fourth position with 3,673 votes. Nyeri has a new senator. Nyeri has a senator. It is Mutahi Kagwe.
Politicians are not enemies. So please, good people of Nyeri, don't create enmity just because you are supporting a different candidates. We were simply adversaries, but we are not enemies. And from now on, we should close the chapter, the election chapter, and move on to progress and developing our county.
Moving on to the women representative seat, the Nyeri women representative now is Priscilla Nyokabi. Priscilla Nyokabi of TNA garnered 215,418 votes against her closest rival of the Grand National Union Party, that is Rehab Mukami, who got 62,725 votes. And so Nyeri's new women representative is Priscilla Nyokabi.
Tunawaomba watu wa Nyeri tusikizane, sasa uchaguzi umeisha, tuache mambo ya vyama, tuingie katika kufanya kazi kwa wakazi wa Nyeri. Na sisi kama viongozi tutafanya hivyo. Viongozi wetu governor atafute pesa chapchap ili kazi yetu ya Nyeri ianze kwa kazi na kwa kasi. Miaka mitano ikiisha tutakuwa tumeenda mbele.
Moving to the parliamentary seats, Nyeri County has 6 constituencies, and starting with Kieni constituency, which is the largest constituency in Nyeri County. The people of Kieni have spoken, and it is TNA's Kanini Kega. Kanini Kega managed to garner 44,235 votes against his closest rivals, Njoroge Wainaina, or Ebenezer as he was politically known, who got 23,288 votes. So it is Kanini Kega as the new member of parliament for Kieni constituency here in Nyeri County. Teto constituency, Ndongo Githenji of TNA is the new member of parliament. Ndongo Githenji managed to get 18,258 votes against his closest rival, and that is Martin Luther King, who got 8,016 votes. Madeira constituency, Peter Wero of NAC is the new member of parliament. Peter Wero of NAC is the new member of parliament. He managed to get 30,308 votes against his closest rival, TNA's Kega Kangao, who got 19,512 votes. In Mokorone constituency, it is Kabando wa Kabando yet again. He has come back as the Member of Parliament for Mokorone. He got 15,454 votes against his closest rival, Dikwathika of GNU. Dikwathika got 15,071 votes, so you can see the difference. Kabando wa Kabando got 15,454 and Dikwathika 15,071, a difference of about 300 votes. So that was completely neck to neck, but the people of Mokorone have made their choice known. It is Kabando wa Kabando as their new Member of Parliament. In Othaya constituency, this now is already known. It is Mary Wamboi to succeed President Mwai Kibaki as the Member of Parliament for Othaya, having served there for 38 years since 1974. And the people of Othaya had big expectations because whoever comes in as Kibaki's replacement then will need to continue with the developmental projects that President Kibaki had initiated in Othaya constituency.
Wale wameshindwa, hii ushindi ni ya watu wa Othaya wote. Hata wale wameshindwa tufanye kazi na hawa. Sisi sote ni watu wa Othaya.
Well, we will continue bringing you updates on the developing stories and what is unfolding here in Nyeri County and the larger central Kenya. Kiambu, Murang'a, Nyeri, Kirinyaga and Nyandarua, the 5 counties that comprise central Kenya. We are here ready to bring you coverage on what is happening, so please stay tuned to KTN. I am Carol Nderi.
Carol Nderi with the comeback, surprises, new faces. And of course, she has been keeping an eye on what's happening in the county of Nyeri. Another person who's been keeping an eye on this whole process for us, but this time in Nakuru, has been Sam Ogina. Sam, if you can hear me, Carol Nderi had her own set of surprises in this election. What sort of names are you coming up with?
Well, thank you, Linda, in studio. Indeed, they are here in Nakuru County. It is a bag full of surprises. As far as the Nakuru parliamentary seat aspirants is concerned, well, anxiety here and frustration has been diffused after IEBC today made announcements on various constituencies of course, who will be the new faces who will run those particular constituencies. And maybe just to rush you through the numbers here and names, it is that let's start from Rongai. It is an interesting constituency, given that Rongai constituency has now been taken over by the son of former President Daniel Arap Moi, that is Raymond Moi, who managed to beat Luka Kigen. Remember, Luka Kigen is the immediate former Rongai MP under the URP ticket. Raymond Moi beat Kigen with 16,828 votes to emerge the MP-elect for Rongai against Luka Kigen, who managed 8,215 votes. In Kuresoi South, URP candidate Zakayo Steriot successfully defended his seat, garnering 15,545 votes against Joseph Tonoi of Kanu, who managed 7,505 votes. And to move to Kuresoi North constituency, Moses Cheboy of Kanu garnered 11,253 votes against Danson Karaoke of the National Alliance Party, who managed 7,986 votes. Yeah, well, in Molo constituency, Jacob Macharia of the TNA garnered 43,086 votes against John Mwiru of the Grand National Unity, who garnered 3,829 votes for that matter. So Jacob Macharia becomes the MP-elect for Molo constituency. And in Nakuru West constituency, that is Nakuru Town West constituency, an ODM candidate made an entry here in the list of MPs in Nakuru County. This is Samuel Arama of ODM, garnered 19,959 votes against his closest rival, Maisiba Charles of the National Alliance Party, who garnered 17,837 votes, a difference of almost 2,000 votes right there. Nakuru Town East constituency, it was David Gakiria for the taking, the National Alliance Party candidate, garnering 53,501, against Timothy Mureithi of NARC Kenya, who managed only 2,057 votes. Njoro constituency has Joseph Kiuna. Remember, he is the immediate former Njoro MP, so he has successfully also defended his seat, garnering 34,450 votes on a TNA ticket against Charity Kathambi of URP, who managed 13,282 votes. Well, another interesting story here in Nakuru County, or the largest Central Rift region, is the resurgence of the KANU party. Remember, KANU has been beaten previously, performing dismally in by-elections and general elections, but the 2013 general elections saw KANU actually clinch 5 positions, elective positions in the largest Central Rift region. Maybe just to rush you through some of this seat that the KANU party has captured is Raymond Moi, of course, for Rongai constituency within Nakuru County, Moses Jaboi, Kuresoi South MP, and a KANU ticket. Helen Sambili has recaptured her Mogotio seat and a KANU ticket. Eric Keter for Belgut MP replaces Charles Keter right there, but Belgut is in Kericho County, but the Kericho County borders the largest Central Rift region. And another of all is Gideon Moi, who is the Baringo senator under the KANU ticket. Now, here's the story that I filed for you on the resurgence of KANU party in this particular area, given that KANU has 2 of Moi's sons as their leaders.
Eneo hili alipotua akiandamana kwa pamoja na mkewe. Baada ya hapo ndipo alipotoa shukrani kwa wale watu walioweza kumpokea katika. This is the fresh time.